So you're trying to choose between a third generation Toyota Tacoma and the fourth generation Toyota Tacoma. Which one is better? Well, I thought I would go out and ask the Hive, and this is what it came up with. So we're going to run through it. It says here, choosing between the third and fourth generation Toyota Tacoma depends on whether you value proven long-term reliability and a more rugged feel, the third gen, or modern performance, superior ride quality, and advanced technology, the fourth gen. First of all, let me tell you, for me, I value the latter, the fourth gen. But let's continue on. Maybe I'll change my mind. In comparing the two, the fourth gen is generally considered the superior truck for daily driving and modern technology or modern comfort. Performance features a more powerful 2.4-liter turbocharged engine, and that seems to be the big hang-up for a lot of folks. 278 horsepower and 317 foot-pounds, or pound-feet, I should say, that eliminates the common gear hunting issue found in previous models or the third gens. They also have the high-output iForce Max hybrid option, which has 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Ride quality. Most trims now feature a coil spring multi-link rear suspension. I have that, and I know the lowest does not, offering a much smoother and more forgiving ride than the older leaf springs. That's one of the biggest reasons that I think I would move up a little bit if you're hunting in the market, just to get that better ride quality. Technology, significantly upgraded with a larger infotainment screen up to 14 inches. You can, of course, get the smaller one, which is 8 inches, I believe. A fully digital gauge cluster and advanced safety features like Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. Interior, improved seating positions and increased headroom address comfort complaints from the previous generation. Yeah, that's completely gone away now. I remember that used to be a big point of contention with the third gen, was how little headroom there was in it, I suppose, although I never really had a problem with that myself. The third generation, which is, by the way, 2016 through 2023. The third generation remains a favorite for enthusiasts who prefer a more traditional mechanical feel, because of course it's naturally aspirated. Reliability, known for extreme longevity, with many vehicles regularly exceeding 250 to 300,000 miles. Can't wait to see how this one does. It's getting up there for some folks. I think the highest I've seen is about 60,000 miles, something like that. It uses a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6, which some drivers prefer over the complexity of a turbocharger. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I think a lot of people just simply drive them and don't really care about the complexity of the engine, unless you're working on it, you know. Towing offers a slightly higher maximum towing capacity, that's the third gen, 6,800 pounds compared to the fourth gen's 6,500 pounds. Aftermarket support currently has a massive library of existing modifications, though support for the fourth generation is growing rapidly. I would say that the fourth gen is currently there. I haven't had any problems finding any kind of a mod that I want for this truck so far. Now, here's a little bit of a summary, I guess, comparing the two. The third gen, the engine is the 3.5-liter V6 naturally aspirated. And of course, in the fourth gen, you can get the 2.4-liter turbo or the 2.4-liter turbo hybrid. The transmission, this is a big difference. In the third gen, you've got the 6-speed, often hunts for gears, one of the big complaints of third gen owners. Or in the fourth gen, you've got the 8-speed, much smoother shifting transmission. Gotta say, it is a marked improvement over the third gen. The rear suspension, as I mentioned earlier, leaf springs are more rigid on the third gen. It has multi-link coil springs for a smoother ride on the fourth gen. Maximum towing, we already mentioned, 6,800 pounds in the third gen and 6,500 pounds in the fourth gen. Technology. In the third gen, and this is one of the things that I was really starting to notice in mine, it was pretty basic. It felt dated, particularly that gauge cluster, right? In the fourth gen, we've got a more modern look and feel. Looks a lot better, I think, with large digital displays, again, both in the gauge cluster and that 14-inch radio. And I have to say, one of the reasons that I switched, I hate to say it, was because I had initially the 8-inch screen, and I really wanted that bigger 14-inch. The verdict, if you want a comfortable, fast, and technology-heavy daily driver, I don't know if I'd say it's heavy, the fourth gen is a better choice. If you want a proven, bulletproof workhorse and plan to keep it for over a decade, they're kind of stretching it. We don't really know about that yet, right? The third gen may be preferable. You kind of have to make up your own mind, I think. I mean, what's important to you, right? I like all the technology in this truck. Of course, I like acceleration, power, speed. The 4-cylinder turbo, it doesn't really bother me, honestly, in any way. The only thing about the 4-cylinder turbo, I guess, is it doesn't sound great. It does make a lot of weird noises, I suppose, both sitting and idling. It seems like something is constantly going on and off and on and off. It makes kind of a sewing machine, rattly kind of sound, right? I mean, we all know what that's like if you've experienced the fourth gen, but it doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, when I'm not standing outside the truck listening to it run, I could really care less how that sounds. Would be nice to have a throatier exhaust, but let's be honest, the third gen, it didn't really have that either. So for me, this engine does everything I need it to do. One of the big complaints, of course, is it doesn't have a cover. I don't really care. Again, unless you're looking under the hood, which most people do not, it isn't really even going to matter. Now, looking inside, once again, it is more updated. I dig the way that it looks. I think it looks pretty good in here. There's that big old 14-inch radio screen, the updated controls, and of course over there, the digital readout or display for the gauge cluster, which, by the way, is very, there's a lot of things you can do to change it the way that you want it to be, right? Love that. We do have a different design here around the glove box area. Now we have storage. I dig that. And by the way, if you didn't know, there is a USB or a port over here on the side to hook up. The only thing, I think, that is a downside in this truck is the rear seat storage room back here, or rear seat, I guess, room at all. There isn't a lot. I mean, you can see the way the seats are, particularly the driver's seat over there. That's how I ride. It doesn't leave you a heck of a lot of room. But honestly, the third gen really didn't either. So I don't know. We're talking about splitting hairs, I think, when it comes to rear seat room in the Toyota Tacoma. The third gen was relatively tight as well. So those that really like to pick on that, I don't think that's really much of a difference. Some people, lastly, talk about scratching and the surfaces in the truck. I used to hear that a lot about the third gen too. I wouldn't say the fourth gen is better. I would say it's probably just about the same. So anyway, that's just a quick look, I guess, at the differences. In the end, you kind of have to make up your own mind. What's important to you? What do you want? We don't know how long this truck is going to last yet because it hasn't been out long enough. It hasn't been in the market long enough to be able to rack up those 2 or 3 or 4 or 500,000 miles, whatever it's going to be. I can't wait to find out. Time will tell, I suppose. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What's important to you? Why did you pick the generation you're driving, I guess? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, don't forget, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on the web. Bye.